What's up, people? Welcome to a brand new episode of Wrestle Update. I'm your host, Dylan Fox, as always. Thank you for joining us once again, and by us, I mean myself, obviously. I am not a figment of your imagination, but I'm not alone either, because I'm joined by my good friend, the one who everybody loves, Nello de Angelis.
Hello, what's up? How are you doing?
What is up, Nello? What's going on with you? What is the life like in the world of Nello? I mean, you are a champion in many things. I think we all know that. We all can agree with that. But how are you feeling right now? What's your vibe in life right now at the moment?
Vibe is good. Monday Night Raw is live right now, but we're doing the real show here.
Yeah.
So that's what's up. Yeah, excited to chat Dynasty. How about you?
I'm very happy to be here and talking with you. And although Raw is on, I will probably eventually watch it with Ken. My great grandpa. Prayers up for Grandpa Ken right now. He's having some breathing problems, but yeah, he's back at home where he belongs once again, and very happy to have him. So I will watch Raw for sure. We have texted recently over the recent Tiffany and Charlotte stuff that's happened as well. So it's not all is lost for WWE, I would say. I will say this before we get into this show. Actually, there's something I wanted to ask you about. Have you noticed how it feels like we're right out of WrestleMania? And I mean, like, obviously, we come from a background with these indie shows and WrestleMania weekend, the collective in Japan, and all of that stuff coming over. But it feels like this year WrestleMania, we're weeks out from this thing. Like, we're literally 2 weeks away, and it feels like nothing's going on with it. Like, every match on the card, there's nothing I really feel any hype level for.
No, they really got to bring it home these next couple weeks. Like, I don't watch weekly, but I listen to, the recaps and stuff, and it feels like everything is sort of in a lull period at this point, just because they've either been going for so long or they're just not really doing anything that interesting.
The thing is, though, because like last year, Cody and Roman, everybody heard about this. Like, you might not have even liked it, you might not have cared about it, but you knew what was going down. Like, that this was going to be a major thing. And this year, I mean, the big thing was supposed to be the Cena turn. Like, I don't know if you've seen any of his interviews.
I feel like there's been no coverage after the heel turn.
Yeah, the heel turn was a huge deal. I mean, listen to our show we did on it. We reviewed that whole deal on the Elimination Chamber show. And that was amazing. And then everything that's happened after. Again, I'm really let down by this turn, to be honest. Like, this was literally the biggest angle in wrestling in decades, and I feel like it's flamed out really bad before the main event of WrestleMania. I mean, I think this turn would have worked a lot better if it had happened 12 years ago or so, because it's hard to really buy Cena turning on the fans now when he's been universally beloved for ever since the U.S. title run that he had. And he literally just ended that show off by getting a standing ovation for advancing to WrestleMania. So a lot of the I hate the fan stuff fell flat, and they pivoted away from it in week 3 because he was just kind of repeating, reusing and recycling week 1 verbiage for week 2. And then it was good that they've done a couple of good things. It's gotten better each week, in my opinion, but only incrementally. Like, week 2 was an improvement on week 1 because they gave him a goal to retire with the title. I mean, does anybody care about that? They could just make a new one. You could definitely question that. But at least it's a goal, which they failed in week 1. Week 3 was good because they realized all that stuff kind of blows that he was saying. So they said, okay, we're going to make it more personal against Cody now, that Cody's not worthy to carry the company. Okay, that's something at least. Yeah, it's like they give him little breadcrumbs every week, but they won't even talk about the best. Like, the turn itself, I thought was excellently done in a lot of ways. It was very brutal, and it feels like they've just kind of blown that whole thing off for this weird cartoony heel Cena that they have. I'm really disappointed in it. No mention of Travis Scott.
Yeah, I was hoping we'd see him weekly.
I mean, I'm sure they have something. Even in The Rock, I mean, he's persona non grata, apparently, in this whole feud. Outside of like one mention each they got, but no explanation really for why exactly he sided with The Rock. We still don't know what selling your soul to The Rock actually means a month after it happened, almost.
Yeah, no, it feels
Overall.
like this, like it. It feels like Cena didn't really do a heel turn because like you would expect so much more from that, from a changing
Yeah.
character to attire to everything. And I know he's like, I'm not changing anything about myself, but
Yeah.
it's
That
kind of
goes to show,
antithetical.
I 100% believe in hindsight that turn, the rumors about it being an 11th hour decision are true. Like, like that right away tells you that. Um, and remember our show we did on that? I told you the thing I was fearful of was that the fans would reject this turn and still want to cheer him because why wouldn't they? He's retiring this year. They did apparently that thought didn't cross the right people's minds, and that he would just eventually turn back babyface within months. And I totally think that's what's going to happen, unfortunately. And we already saw it. The fans started to cheer him when he went after Cody in week 3. Uh, you're not going to get these guys to boo their childhood hero as much as he, I suppose it's somewhat brave to go after his own fans so hard, but I don't think the people are buying it. I don't know overall, but I mean, it's improved week after week. Maybe they'll bring it home before we get to WrestleMania, and we will talk about this more eventually. But I'm just very disappointed in that. But this show is all about AEW Dynasty. Um, let's just start right away. I talked about your hype level on life, which appears to be very high. We all like that. We all have a lot of love for the folks here in the WU crew right now. What was your vibe going into this show in Dynasty? Because I aired my grievances with WWE right now. Although I absolutely love the Tiffany and Charlotte stuff. It's so funny. It's like the horrible in all of the greatest ways. We can all laugh about it. But in AEW, what was your feeling going into Dynasty?
Um, Certain things I was excited for, like the Tony Storm Megan Bane match. Other things felt like I was just coming in on a Sunday to watch a special episode of Dynamite. I think in
Yeah.
the end, that's kind of what it felt like. Um, but so not super high, but again, like excited to have something to talk about. Excited because AEW usually provides good wrestling. So there's always that base level. But in terms of additional, not much.
I thought the closing go home angle was phenomenal. The Hangman and Swerve meeting. I thought that was so smart to do that. Gave some heat to yet another dead Moxley match, which I mean, we'll talk about how it played out. But by the end of that show, um, oh, by the way, I'm really glad we get to talk about this because I can air another grievance. AEW's commentary team, it's got to change. Like it's getting worse and worse to the point where it's kind of actively hurting. It's not kind of, it is actively hurting some of their major angles. Why couldn't they let him have his moment to sit up from the glass on there? They had to yap him all through it and make the moment mean so much less. It was so annoying to me, that whole deal. But it was a great angle. Though power bombing him into the glass, Swerve looking like a beast, the stuff with Hangman everybody was talking about. Um, I thought that was great. One thing right away, before we get to this actual show itself, I hate that they had the tournament matches on this show. Like, you could have dedicated an entire week to these tournament matches and filled up your TV just fine. This show did not need these matches, although one could argue they may have been the best matches on the show, to be fair. But still, I think they would have been much, much better off saving the Owen Hart matches for their own TV show. Everything should be taking place on TV, not pay-per-views. in my opinion. So that right away is a negative mark. Again, we'll talk about the quality of the matches. Just on principle, I did not like that, personally. And on top of it, let's be honest, this show lasted forever. Like, this is a long-ass show. Like, you could have cut some matches off and we would have been fine. Like, let's just be real about that. We don't need to stay up until midnight in Central Time, like every time for these pay-per-views, people. But that said, I was hyped for the closing angle. I really thought that, okay, this might be the time they're going to move the belt off of Moxley. I think this had legit intrigue to it. Everything else, I have to say, when I looked at the show going in, I actually thought they built up the Bandito and Jericho stuff pretty well. Like, I have to give them credit for that. The three-way match for the international title, I thought how they got here was horrible. Like, the double pin in the four-way, and he used the ropes, and I just thought it was so dumb. Like, about it, they could have just easily have had. They could have. I don't even mind the three-way per se, except we see it. We talked about this about WrestleMania. Like, every single show at WrestleMania, that company is obsessed with doing these triple threats. And now AEW seems to want to do these three-way matches all the time. Enough already. Just have a singles match, man, on there. But, that's how I felt going into it. Now that I see how it played out, I was fine with it. I still think how they got there was dumb. Did you watch any of the pre-show or the 0 hour?
No, I did not make it to the 0 hour. Did you? How was it?
The only thing I know is Bowens came back and beat up Max Caster.
Awesome. Good for him.
That should have been on. That's another thing that should have been on TV. That's not a pre-show angle. That's been built up. Again, I'm not saying this Max Caster stuff is good, but I'm saying you have built this show up forever. Or not the show, but this Max Caster angle forever. We've yet to see Bowens get any kind of revenge. He finally does it on a pre-show. Why? Why?
Historically, they've done stuff like this. Like, I remember Jamie Hayter returning on the pre-show at Wembley. I feel like certain people probably just see it as no matter what, it's happening on the pay-per-view on this night with this crowd on this show, right? I saw, like, even after the show, I didn't see the 0 hour, but that was one of the things I heard the most about when going to read up on the show afterwards, after I had watched it. So, like, it got a lot of visibility, it looked like, at least, which is successful. But I agree. Like, I think they could have given this a better platform.
Yeah, I don't think there was any reason not to give this more of a spotlight. I am happy to see Bowens back, though. I really like him a lot. I think he's a really good wrestler. And it's going to be interesting to see what they do with him. I think on this roster and how they're booking some stuff right now, I'm not confident for anybody, but I hope that it works out, all in all. We also got to see Crew in the 0 hour show as well. So that match actually got some nice reviews too. The tag team match they had. What do you think of Nick Wayne going to the New Japan for the Best of Super Junior?
It's cool. I saw Mao is in there as well. So
yes, he is.
Like, this year's lineup is probably the most interesting it's been in years, for me at least. I was like, I'd watch this.
Yeah, it should be good. I can't wait to see what Mao brings out. Dragon Dai is back, and we'll see who CMLL sends over. So it's good. Nick Wayne, I think it's a great opportunity. He's the perfect kind of guy that AEW should send over. In my opinion. Much like Yuta last year, although Wayne is much more a spectacular type of wrestler, a flying wrestler. So, good stuff. I'm into it. So, then we start the show off, the actual show for Dynasty. Starting off with the aforementioned tournament matches I dislike. Owen Hart was legit my idol in wrestling. When I wrestled, I always wanted to be just like him. In the ring. So I have a ton of reverence for this tournament as a whole. I don't love how they've done it, and I don't love some of the people involved in this tournament. But regardless, we got it off here to a showcase match for Kevin Knight, who's a new signee for AEW. They tried their best to build him up in short order for this match. He was a replacement for Switchblade Jay White, who was originally going to be in this match, but has a legit injury, so he's out. Get well soon, Switchblade. We will say that. But Kevin Knight, this was his chance. When he came out on Wednesday, this crowd did not give him a very warm reaction. They didn't know who this was, to be honest. But they did a nice little tag team match, and they set up this match here. So, with that said, replacement level match, first round of the tournament, Ospreay and Kevin Knight. What did you think of this match?
Good. Like, for me, this was Kevin Knight's AEW debut. I haven't seen him do anything else in the company. This was good. They had a lot of great spots. Ospreay made Knight, I thought, look amazing. It felt very like Knight gives me Dragon Kid vibes. Do you see that at all?
Yeah. I think that Knight, he's got a little bit more size to him. The thing that made Kid so spectacular to me, I mean, going back to DG USA days, was when I started watching him, and obviously everything that came after. Just the fact that he was so much smaller than the others made him like the next gen Ray to me in my mind. Kevin's got a good size to him, and I mean that in some ways makes him even more impressive. But I really like his style, though. He does have a lot of great spectacular work to him. He has earned his nickname, the Jet. I was a huge fan of his in New Japan. I thought he was a guy that's really done some great things. I had high hopes for him when he was still a young lion. I don't think he's quite reached to a Dragon Kid level yet, but I could definitely see him being that kind of player in AEW.
Yeah, I would love for like a SmackDown 6 on Collision or something. I say that as I never watch Collision, but I feel like Kevin Knight can be a really reliable hand over these next year or two, and then as he starts to develop that character throughout these matches and hopefully feuds, then you can start really starting to push him into title programs. So I'm excited to see what he does. I imagine he's going to disappear now, or what, like pretty soon for Best of Super Junior. So hopefully they have something planned for him and Wayne as well for when they're back. I thought they rode the momentum of Takeshita's G1 run actually pretty well. That led into his push with the international title and all of that. So hopefully that they use this for some good momentum.
Yeah, absolutely. And Ospreay, I mean, love him or hate him, no one can say he's a selfish wrestler. Like, I mean, he really went out of his way to make him, and he always does. Like that's something very consistent about Ospreay. Even when I was down on him, I always respected that. One of the highlights for me was when Knight got to counter Ospreay's Styles Clash attempt into a DDT. I thought it was really cool on there. You also have to love the no hand springboard that Kevin Knight does. That he had, which is really cool. And I like that they gave him a lot of time here. And also, I like that Ospreay won with the hidden blade. I've always said that's one of the most underprotected moves in wrestling. Like, that should be a kill shot finisher, in my opinion. And it kind of gets kicked out of too much. Here, he clocked him with the hidden blade. That was it. He didn't need to have some crazy back and forth segment with Kevin Knight. Knight's on the come up. Again, he has a lot of potential, and we both like him a lot. But this is exactly what this match needed to be. High impact, well-paced opener. They didn't go crazy or do anything, like the Fletcher match, like anything, crazy spot-wise. But they just had a really good, fundamentally sound, quality match here to open the show out. With great pace, set the stage really well. So I highly appreciate this. Honestly, I think there's an argument to be made just because of the stylistic differences between this and the other men's tournament match, as well as the three-way we'll talk about. Like, if you're the kind of person who might think those matches, like, they're too overboard, like are too much of a spot fest, you could argue this was the best match on the show. Like, because I don't think anybody would say they went overboard with it. They kept it sensible, but still good, and still, like, impressive athletically as well. So I thought this was a really well done opener. After that, they did shake hands. So put over Kevin Knight as well. Very nice stuff there.
What is the cage match rating, and what would you give it?
Yeah, well, it's a 7.79 rating on cage match. And I think that sounds about right to me. When you look at a cage match system, a lot of these matches, I'd say outside of the three-way, this feels like one of the lower overall, rated pay-per-views for AEW. And I mean, it is. It's, the whole show itself is 6.63. And I felt that way even watching it. This was a low-end AEW show in terms of pay-per-view. But overall, I would say this was a legit great opener. I would give it an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I'd go like 3 3/4. I thought that Knight has such great chemistry with Ospreay. You can see that Ospreay's had influence on him, but I think he stands out so much more as his own type of wrestler than a Callum Newman type.
Well, if you listen to the Eastern Lariat, you know my opinions on Callum Newman. And it's not good. Kevin Knight, I think, is a lot better than Callum Newman, to be honest. And I think that it showed here. I mean, this is the kind of match that really works well. So good stuff there. As I said, they showed respect. Maybe Knight could, Ospreay can kind of be a mentor to him eventually, or they can play this back. If Knight takes off, like maybe a few years from now, they can bring this match up. Hey, this is his first real match, or his first big match. So very good stuff. Up next is the Learning Tree, Big Bill and Brian Keith versus the Hurt Syndicate, Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin. I don't like it, the MJF stuff with the Hurt Syndicate. Like, why? The Hurt Syndicate was doing great on their own. Why do they need to be involved in this gimmicky stuff? And this is 2 months in a row now. Last month, they had the Outrunners, which was a completely, gimmick type of match. And now this month, you've got another underdog team. And I mean, I like Big Bill and Brian Keith. Like, I think they're good talents, don't get me wrong. But the way this match played out with the MJF stuff, who did this really benefit at the end of the day? I don't think, like, the first match was perfect in accomplishing what it wanted. This match failed. It had a 5.44 rating on Cage Match. So the inmates basically agree with me. I thought this was not a very good match, to be honest. I think it could have gotten there. Again, I liked the talents, but I just think everything about this is so mismatched. And on top of it, like, it feels like they don't know if they want the Hurt Syndicate to be heels or baby faces, and that's like messing things up. I don't know. This is like a 4 out of 10 to me.
Ooh. Yeah, every Hurt Syndicate match gets an extra 1 star for me just because it's Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin, and I love them.
Yes, and I still love them. Don't get me wrong.
So I gave this one a solid 3 with the Hurt Syndicate bump. Yeah, like, this did not elevate Hurt Syndicate. It pretty much kept them where they are, which is, dominant champions. But then you had that weird MJF moment. It pretty much just kept the Hurt Syndicate going exactly at the level they're at. The story continues. Yeah, I don't know. It's like they can't find a team for them to face, really. Like, I guess Brian Cage just got injured or something.
Yeah, that's why they kind of pivoted from Archer and Cage.
Yes.
The Cage is out. They more or less just repeated their storyline, just with like where they had to earn their way to get the title shot.
Like, man, this company used to have the best tag team division, and now it's like you can't make someone legitimate enough to face these guys.
You're right. I mean, they've had chances with with super teams. I think that's what it's going to take right now, because the division's just too weak on its own. And I mean, we'll talk about what happened with FTR later. Maybe that could be a big goal for them. I think that, I would like to see one of these teams, like we saw with Ospreay and Omega. I thought there was a money tag. Like, to me, that's a pay-per-view main event level match. Ospreay and Omega versus Hurt Syndicate. Maybe not now, though. Like, Hurt Syndicate feels like they cooled off after the last couple of months. But when they won the title, I thought, like, this was awesome. They destroyed everyone. This is what we want to see. This is like our generation's Road Warriors, like, coming into play right now. I will say this, though, and I do want to shout out someone, our wonderful and loyal cage match commenter, Trumbeck. He did not like that we bring up the Meltzer scale with our matches and our star ratings on the last episode. He wondered if the cage match inmates is that not good enough? And let me tell you, Trumbeck, the cage match rating system is good enough. Look at how intricate it is. You've got decimal points. You've got 3 different numbers. They might not be named after stars or constellations, but there are many different numbers to it. So I do want to shout out the inmates rating system right now, and I'm going to try to focus on that very much on this show. Nello, what are your thoughts on this?
Sounds wonderful.
You're free to keep using the Meltzer scale, though. Don't be bullied by Trumbeck if you don't want to.
I mean, I do my movies on a 5 scale because of Letterboxd, and
that's
video
true,
games on a 5 scale because of Backlogged.
So
I just like the 5-star scale is applicable to me across the board. It's less Meltzer, it's more just Letterboxd. So let's just get Meltzer out of here, man.
Yeah,
we don't need him in the ratings. He's got his own stuff. I just do a 5-star agnostic scale. Okay.
To be fair, Cage Match does put his ratings up too. Like there's to him as well. So Either one's fine. But I personally will respect everyone's wishes here, and I feel like it's some sort of miracle I've not been locked in an asylum in my life. Nor have I been put in jail. So I've never been an actual inmate, but in the wrestling world, I'm up there. I will always be an inmate in my heart. So, anyway, what do you think about this MJF stuff with the Syndicate?
Dude, I was cracking up because you and I were talking after the last pay-per-view, and we were like, what's next for MJF? And then
we don't know.
And then, like, the next week, they followed it up with, like, MVP giving him his card. I was like, I would not have said MJF joining the Hurt Syndicate. Someone mentioned Blood and Guts being Death Riders and Young Bucks versus Hangman, Swerve, Hurt Syndicate, and MJF. And I can't say that doesn't sound like – it sounds like money. I mean, like, if you could get the people in there together, cool. Yeah,
MJF
I don't know.
is a babyface?
I mean, I think that they're trying, like, dude, how can you not? Hurt Syndicate are baby faces. The crowd
100%
fucking loves them. So if MJF's going into Hurt Syndicate, by proxy, he's in the babyface group.
In my opinion, this should end with Lashley and Shelton just destroying MJF. Like that's how I want this angle to end. Like, I don't want to see the MJF and I don't want to see MJF in the Hurt Syndicate.
No.
Like they don't need him. like why do they need him? I do think ultimately, though, I think it would be, and that's the thing, like, what possible end game could there be to this? So one option is he just joins them. But will he really be a babyface for long? Like, I mean, we've kind of treaded these waters before. What about an idea that Because we basically have seen how it's played out so far. MVP wants MJF. Lashley does not want MJF to this point. And we have to see how they'll react to him helping them win in this as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, I mean, what if MJF and MVP turn and it's Lashley and Shelton together and they kind of like up MVP's game a little bit with, a main event level guy? That would at least be a worthy tag title match as well, more than any other team they currently have in the division, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, dude, Private Party have completely fallen off. You
Oh,
could
no,
have at least had them. You could have at least had them trying to regroup, so you could have them challenge again down the line and at least add another ripple into the feud. There's no reason teams can't get better and evolve.
Right.
But yeah,
and I like them as talents. Just they don't book them well.
Anyone that hurt Syndicate faces, that team just disappears after. Private Party, Outrunners, like these are non-existent forces in the grand scheme of AEW.
At least with Private Party, they got destroyed, and that's what led to that. Like Outrunners, they had a way too competitive match. What do you think's next for Bill and Keith here?
I mean, we'll see. Jericho lost as well, so a big lose-lose night for the Learning Tree. I don't see, like, it looks like the Ops and the Death Riders could be facing off for the trios titles, but I think that Learning Trios, why not go for the trios titles? Why not make a trios division, right?
I'd be up for that.
Yeah, like I feel like that's maybe their best use now is they failed as a tag team, they failed as the singles guy, so let's see what we can do together as a team.
And it feels like they've kind of teased Jericho's going to disown these guys pretty much. But I just don't see that doing anything for anybody. I mean, I like them, though. Like, I like Brian Keith. I like Big Bill.
Same.
Yeah, like, I think you have something with them. Again, the problem with a lot of these undercard guys, there's just too many people on this roster that don't, you could name like 10 guys that should have more time. Like on TV, you could do a lot more with. And there are two of them, but they were really background players to the MJ stuff in this match. What do you think of the Mercedes Moné versus Julia Hart match here? Because like there's really nothing to this in terms of build. They're just first round opponents in the women's Owen Hart match.
I disagree with the inmates here. I thought this was one of Julia's best matches.
Yeah, I totally was going to say that as well.
Yeah, no, they had fantastic chemistry. There was some really good near falls. I thought that Julia's moveset was the most diverse it's ever looked. Lariats to the back of the head, to the front. What was it? Crucifix power bomb. Yep. So many cool little roll-ups. It looks like she's been practicing a lot, and this is the best she's looked since she's returned. I thought this was much better than the Hater matches.
Yeah, me too.
So yeah, I thought this was another great match in Mercedes' great run lately.
I loved Mercedes mocking Black with the cross leg thing. That was awesome. And then that led to Hart doing the corner spider sit-up deal that she does. Yeah, but we saw Julia hit a lot of stuff here. She did the dive to the floor. She walked the ropes. Like at one point, I was like, whoa, where's this going? Tried to do a standing moonsault at one point. It was really good. I also liked Mercedes again. She's another one where go back and listen to our shows last year. I was pretty hard on her. But I justifiably so. Her run was not delivering for a lot of last year. It really felt like that Statlander match was her turning point to me, because like when that happened, if you look at her output after that, it's like she had bangers all in a row. Like you had the Hazuki match, you've had all of these matches. Last month we really praised the Momo match that she had as well. We were higher than that of the Inmates as well. And I agree with you here. Like I'm sorry to the Inmates, but I really think this was a really good match. I really agree with you that it was Julia's best. I love that she really tried a lot. And I think Mercedes needs to get a lot of credit too for building things up in a way where when Julia countered the bank statement into the Heartless, that crowd roared like they were super into this match. And this was a nothing match, like no build to it really. But the crowd was rallying behind Julia here, and I think it goes to show how well she, the Hounds of Hell in general, but especially her, I think have definitely shined since Malachi left us. What do you think of them changing her theme? It's basically the same song, but they changed it to where the part where it says the house always wins, it's now the heart always wins.
Yeah, it's pretty sick.
I
thought her gear
awesome.
was tight too. Like her pants were pretty sick. I was like, I would wear those pants.
Very much so. I 100% agree with that. Very jealous of the gear. But I mean,
And here's the thing, like these tournament matches had the unfortunate position of being booked on the pay-per-view. They didn't ask for them to. Regardless, these all felt like tournament openers in a really good way. Like, not like New Japan Cup tournament opener. I'm like, okay, you're already down to a field of 8, right? These are your quarterfinals. So, and this felt like a quarterfinal match. Like this was great stuff. It felt like both of them really wanted it. Like this and the Fletcher match, I did have those thoughts of like, damn, an upset here would be really fun, actually.
Me too. In my opinion, when you look at these brackets, I think that the final should be Statlander or Mercedes, and this is where Stat gets her win over her. Like that's how I would book it personally. I mean, like Hayter, I just feel is so cold right now. Like I feel like Stat is the better option on that end. And I mean, you could have Athena win, but I think the way I see it happening is better because you could do something where Athena gets screwed somehow, and that you could build to that later. Stat can finish her story with Mercedes while also not winning the belt. And that could lead to Stat moving on to the other belt and having Athena and Mercedes still be set up for All In. What do you think of that plan?
Yeah, that would rule.
Yeah, so very nice match. And Mercedes and Athena, we definitely, I think, I don't want to speak for you, but I think we both have high expectations for when it happens.
I think Athena's the person to take the belt.
Me too.
Yeah. Because, like, you can run that. Isn't Athena from Texas?
Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
And I think the story would be better if Athena just beats Mercedes now and wins the tournament. That kind of like lessens her eventual title win, in my opinion. So I've thought this through, people. I think tournament booking through very well here. I've at least put thought into it. I'm not saying it's great. You might not agree with it, but I did at least think about it. But anyway, Julia Mercedes was very good. I would give this a 7 out of 10. But if we were to do it on your letterbox scale, it would have to be a 3 3/4 for me.
Nice. Yeah, I'd go like 3.5, 3 3/4.
What letter grade would you give it?
Oh, that's hard.
See, that's even more complicated because you can actually just like kind of double the star rating and make it work for the cage match system.
I'd give it a B.
I give it a solid B+ here.
Word. We're just throwing out all the ratings.
We don't even know what this means.
All the skills.
Yeah, we don't even know what this means. But no, a very good match though, in all seriousness. Well, this is where the show would take a turn. They go right into the trios titles match here, with the Death Riders defending against rated FTR. The crowd goes crazy for Cope's theme music. They're singing along. And I had some pretty strong words for Cope Hogan here on the last show. And I have to say,
Cope Hogan?
Yeah. I was not a big fan of how much did it take for him to lose that match to Moxley, that rematch they did.
Oh my God. Hey, that was redeemable though. I like that.
Yes. We are pro the spike spot, surely.
Yeah, but he still didn't tap out or get pinned or anything. Exactly. He just passed out. Passing out is such a lame finish.
I hate it. Yeah, yeah, I hate it. Um, and he still has he will still not do a job on this show because Dax was the one that took the fall in the end from Yuta hitting the Busaiku knee. Uh, but that said, I will say I thought this was a decent match with good crowd heat to it. I thought that Yuta continues to be a very admirable, like, Dominic, but is actually a good wrestler for AEW. I thought he did good stuff here. You had Pac doing some slower work here from his standards, you would think, but I thought it was pretty well done, all things considered. Good psychology from the Death Riders. And then there came the spot that was straight out of Shawn Michaels NXT here. When you had Claudio and Dax both lock the sharpshooter in and have this dramatic, like, in-ring promo battle while they both have a sharpshooter screaming at each other. And then they were like, all right, screw this. And then they let go of the sharpshooter at the same time and started brawling. They did the big spot with the old Kings of Wrestling spot with the big swing into the drop kick from Yuta. That was really good. And then they did a really good spot where they did like the powerplex that FTR did. That led to a great near fall. Like everybody hit everybody and everybody was down. You had people scrambling around. In the end, again, Yuta hit the Busaiku knee on Dax to get the win here. Just as a match, we'll get to the post-match angle after this. What'd you think of it?
I'm just like, dude, Cope does nothing for me. And like FTR right now is pretty stale as well. I was happy to see the trios titles get defended at least.
Yeah, that was the main positive to this.
I loved all the moments with Wheeler. Like, I love that his hometown crowd was chanting "Fuck you, Yuta."
Yeah.
So loud. Like, he's just doing it right.
Yeah.
And yeah, once Death Riders won, I came in live for the TNT match and everything that happened after, and then I watched the rest of the show this morning. Had I seen this before the world title event, I would have thought Swerve is losing. Because I don't see how you can have, like, when the Death Riders lose, when Moxley loses, it's the Death Riders are losing everything, right? It's weird for Moxley to lose the world title and then for them to still be trios champions. Like, no, it's like when the Usos lost the tag titles, like the underlings get stripped before the big boss. Like, you work your way up, right? So when they retained, I did not have good feelings about the main event. Love the post-match angle.
Yeah, it could have been
also cool. Sorry, I was gonna say also confused because if Edge just came back for 2 months to just run a world title program and then get written off again, it's like, what is this guy doing for this company?
Well, I personally think that this is leading to an Edge and Christian reunion, to be honest, the way things are going. Well, because Christian and Nick Wayne are on the outs right now. Oh, I love the storytelling. The manipulative cult leader-esque father figure is going to be a baby face because his underlings turn on him in AEW.
Did you see El Desperado's tweet?
Yeah, where's your mother?
He said, "Is your mother coming?" Nick Wayne.
I'm not blaming Desperado for this. Are you expecting me to judge this man?
So funny.
How good was that death match? That
triple death match? Amazing. Yeah. That show was awesome. That's a show contender to me.
Yeah, vibe show to the max. Anytime you get Despy and Jun Kasai together, you're getting something special.
It's magic. These two were made for each other. And then, dude, like, if you were going to show someone a Masashi Takeda match and just like to show them the aura and the absolute menace and prowess this guy has as a deathmatch wrestler, Dude, Kasai and Desperado were both in the match, but I totally thought Takeda was the star. Like,
Takeda rules.
Takeda was booked so strongly. They gave him so much to shine with. Like, I thought Takeda came out of that looking like just as much of a star as the other two guys, which is not easy to do.
Yeah, totally agree. You know, something I really like about Yuta, you know, it's funny because he's from Philadelphia. I think he's really, if they can play their cards right, and we know how much I hate this angle. Like I hate it more than everyone, and everyone else also hates it in their own way. But if they can play their cards right, and maybe they were trying to go for this, I think they did it in such an ass way that it didn't work, and I really didn't like it at all. And I like what they're doing now much more. But he reminds me a lot of Stevie Richards, like ECW era, like under Raven level. Like good wrestler, but annoying, like dickhead. that everyone just wants to see get his ass beat all the time. And he's willing to get his ass beat. Like, I think Yuta really buys in on this. I think if one day we could get to where he finally stands up to Moxley for real, I think they could turn in something special out of that. I think that's like the one hope I have for this whole thing is through Wheeler. So after that, we head to the women's title match. No, let's talk about the angle afterwards. So FTR destroys Cope here. First of all, Dax Cope Hogan. Look how much it took to take this man out. Dax pile drives Cope into a bunch of chairs. They hit the Shadow Machine to Cope together. They hit a spike pile driver on the chair. Cash hits the concerto twice on him. And then they knock over his stretcher as he's been carried away.
The stretcher stuff was amazing.
It was awesome. Now, it was awesome. There's no doubt about that.
When Cash put on the neck brace, too, I thought that was hilarious.
That was great. FTR were freaking awesome.
Speaking of great moments on this show, one thing I did see from the pre-show, did you see the Tomohiro Ishii interview?
No, I didn't, but I wish I did automatically.
So it starts off, and he's got his microphone, and standing to his left is Renee, RJ City, and Jeff Jarrett, and they all welcome him. And dude, they're just talking and talk. He does not say a single thing. They hand Ishii a second microphone. So he's sitting there with two microphones, and he doesn't say a single fucking thing the entire segment.
This is my goat.
Peak Ishii.
What do you think about Sonata, like dressing up like Jeff Jarrett? It seems like in New Japan, it's like
you're gonna have to send me a picture.
I will.
I don't know what this guy looks like now.
I promise I will. Yeah, Sonata, the man of a million looks, now has gone to his country music phase, apparently. And turned with the guitar shot, just like Jeff Jarrett on there this time. His latest turn. I mean, he's turned a lot, but still. Oh, you've got to see this. I definitely will say. I forgot how goofy he actually looks. Okay, I text messaged it to you, so check your phone and tell me what you think of this thing. Is this not the real Double J?
Oh shit! What? Isn't he in Bullet? This is not a Bullet Club look.
Well, he turned on Bullet Club. So
who did he join?
House of Torture.
This is not a House of Torture look.
Are going for their country.
Dude, he looks like he's in Roppongi. Oh yes. My god.
I love it. And he had a guitar as well. It does not show this picture, but he did. So Sonata, ladies and gentlemen. This angle ruled, though, in all seriousness. This might have been my favorite thing Cope's done in AEW, to be honest. It was so over the top, but it really worked. And the stuff with the stretcher was great. But this is why I think ultimately this is what's going to lead to the ENC reunion. You know, and I mean, it'll be a big moment. I mean, I was a big fan of them as a team, as much as I dislike Cope in AEW right now and how he behaves on Twitter with his mass blocking tendencies. But I think that there is some nostalgia worth to them as a team, actually. Like, I think you could get something out of that. I don't think it'll be a great match, but I think with enough nostalgia, FTR is a great team to do it. And I think that's a good all-in match if they get there. I know one thing. I don't want to see Cope coming back this week on Dynamite after this insane beatdown that he was given. Like,
Dude,
this needs to keep
come back. I hope he comes back and he does 2 matches, one against Stacks, one against Cash, and I hope he wins them both.
Actually, if that happened, I might turn on this and like start liking it though, because it's so over the top.
But
like that, yes,
Cash can get like a 2 count on him, so he can get a rub.
He's really helping the young guys out.
Yeah.
Good stuff there. But the angle is great. We'll see how they follow it up. And also I'm more interested in FTR as heels. I thought they really.
Yes, totally agree. There's certain wrestlers where when they turn a certain way, I sort of lose interest in them. Like Adam Cole is a babyface, right? Really no interest. FTR is a babyface, really no interest. It'd be like heel Orange Cassidy. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? There's certain wrestlers that I feel like that are just bred for certain roles, which isn't to say that they're not capable, but I feel like they just do not get as like Kevin Owens is another one, because it's not to discredit them as a babyface, it's to say that they do not get as good of content to sink their teeth into usually when they're playing the other side. Their storylines are not as meaty. They don't get to be as, based on the promos.
But on the other hand, I will say this for KO. That time he like took a huge shit on Austin Theory. That time was like one of his best promos to me. He totally just obliterated him on the mic. It was very good. So I will give KO the benefit of the doubt. Get well soon, KO. By the way, I know his neck surgery is coming up, so shame if he does have to miss WrestleMania. What if it leads to Nick Aldis getting a WrestleMania match? Wouldn't that be something?
So someone said that, and I feel like it's going to be Aldis bringing in someone to fight Orton.
Who is a Nick Aldis aligned? Rob Terry. Bringing back the British invasion.
It's going to be Jeff Corn on the Cob. That's how they're going to debut him. He's going to come out in a big corn outfit.
He's a champion, though.
Jeff Corn on the Cob. Or, no, I mean, you've been doing promo videos for Black. I feel like you could definitely do that.
That would work.
What
about Rusev? They just re-signed him. You told me he was a real estate agent.
That's what I heard. No, you told me that. You told me you got a house from him. I'm not going to be slandered.
I wish I got a house from Rusev. Let's go to the Preds game together, man.
That's right. He's in Tennessee as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Damn. Yeah, you should find one of his listings and just go to an open house.
He might be retiring though, now that he's back with the Fed.
Damn. Quick, if you're trying to get a house with Rusev, it could be your last chance now. So it's time to buy, folks.
It is officially Rusev Day once again. So we build up to this Tony and Megan Bayne match. I thought they did about as good of a job as they can, making Megan look strong going into this. It was really short notice, and she hadn't really done that much beforehand. But I always liked her. I liked her a lot in Stardom. I thought she had a really good. Everything about her is good. I liked her wrestling. The look is very striking, of course, with the big Megasis gimmick and helmet that she wears and all that. She looks great. Wrestles really good. Is a good power wrestler too. I love the match that Megan had with Statlander. That match ruled. I just like that they actually have like a beef division for the women's division too, where you've got these power wrestlers that could just like wreck shit. And yes. I think they're like her, Willow, Stat, like they're all great power wrestlers. So that's really cool. Tony might not be a power wrestler, but I thought she did pretty good here. I have to say. She came out with Luther. Megan had Penelope as well. I like the gimmick that they had of like Toni Storm is like the underdog in this match. So much so that she came out with like this Rocky-esque video that they filmed on Collision to show her training. And she had like a robe on here, which is very good. Megan hits a big dive that drops Luther. And that leads to Toni Storm countering with her own dive back inside the ring. But then Penelope tries to interfere. That leads to Megan turning the tables a little bit. She starts throwing Toni around the ring. It's really good. Luther tries to come back and help Toni as well. Toni hits this, like, they go to the top rope, and she hits a backdrop driver from the middle rope, which looked great. Megan took a great bump here. Hopefully it wasn't dangerous. I think she was okay, but it looked good to me. They go in, look for the Storm Zero, but Megan counters that into a powerbomb. She looks for Fate's Descent, but then Toni reverses it into a tried and true small package to get the win here. What'd you think?
I loved this match. They should make Toni the main eventer of these shows from now on. I feel like she is so much bigger than Moxley in the company currently. People fucking love her, dude. And this was a fantastic babyface performance. I thought the kick out at one was insane. Good finish with the roll up still protects Bane. I feel like you can run this back a couple more times. They had great chemistry. I was like, damn, this reminds me of like Micah and Bane, just a slugfest match. Yeah, I really liked it. I'd give this one 4 1/4. I'd go high on this. 8.5 on the cage match.
Although we can't do half scale points, unfortunately. That's not my call, but it's true. What would you give the trios title match? I don't think we ever graded that. It's got a 6.97 rating.
Give it a 3.
Okay, so yeah, I go a little higher. I'd give it a 7 out of 10.
Nice.
I'll side with the inmates over you on that one. This one right away, I must offer this comment because it plays into us. User LJ Awesome 03 gives it 7 out of 10. Grade C+, 3 1/4 stars. He knows to cover his bases. Yeah. But what he said was also right as well. He also mentioned the Rocky inspired gimmick from Toni Storm, much like myself. We both like this. Megan Bane looked great. Yes, she did. And even though she lost, she still looks good. Oh, he does bring up a good point. What do you think about Megan and Penelope together?
Good pairing. Penelope is someone that's been there since the beginning, but has never really found a spot. Who did she used to be paired with?
Janela.
No, I mean, yeah, I remember that, and like then Sabian and stuff, but I felt like
that's right.
Another woman as well, but I can't remember now. But no, I like this pairing. They're a good tag team.
Yeah, I like them. I wonder if they ever pull the trigger on a like women's tag team titles.
They don't need more titles, but I'm always into them.
Yeah, I know. That's how it always goes because I feel the same way. To be honest, they might. And who knows? We'll talk about the international title later. But this is good. Definitely, and the crowd loved it. Like you said, they absolutely loved Toni. I haven't loved all of the Timeless Toni stuff for sure, but I mean, it's just working so good right now. I can't deny it, and I thought Megan did a great job. I hope she's not a challenger of the month that disappears. She deserves more, in my opinion.
Same.
Yeah, but I'm with the inmates. I'd give this an 8 out of 10. It's got a 7.81 rating. Sure. What do you think of Mariah May? All the rumors that her contract's coming up. She's looking for WWE. You think she makes the jump?
Really?
Yeah. If that happens, what a write-up. Like, what a way to go out. Like, with the match they had.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, I would be really sad because I think Mariah May is a hell of a talent.
Yeah.
But I would say that she probably had one of the best runs you could have in a company. She won the top prize. She was in some very high profile events. She main evented Grand Slam. And then she'll win the women's tag team titles with Tiffany Stratton. So lots in the future.
If Tiffany doesn't get buried for what she's doing right now on there. But we'll see what happens going forward. Still, great match. Good work from Tony and Megan both. Hope to see more. Another tournament match. No real story. Kyle Fletcher versus Mark Briscoe. What do you think?
Man, these guys have great chemistry. Like they had one of the better Continental Classic matches. I'd go just as high as the other Owen Hart Cup matches, like 3 3/4. I thought that this was really impressive. The stuff with the chair was a little bit broke a little bit of the pace for me at the beginning, but like the final stretch was a hell of a stretch, and Mark Briscoe's just great. Like, I don't know, him and Kyle have a special chemistry. I think someone on Cage Match might have wrote it, but I really hope that one day I get to see them in a match for something much bigger on the line.
Mark Briscoe has to be one of the most underpushed people in any company to me. Like, he has everything you would want. Like, totally unique style, great look for his gimmick, great wrestler, and one of the best promos in the company. I'm always like flabbergasted why he isn't on TV every single week, like cutting amazing promos. They did that for like a month or two where they just had him cut random promos, like with the conglomeration, and it was awesome. Like, everything about it was great, and we know he can work. I just think that this was a really strong match. Like you said, I really agree with all of your comments and the inmates as well. This was the highest rated match up to this point and the second highest on the show, 8.13 from the fans. I really have no fault in that. This is another one, another 8 out of 10 for me. That's 3 8s on this show with Ospreay, Kevin, Tony and Megan, and Fletcher and Mark here too. I would give that as well. Again, I can see why some people thought maybe it was too much of an indie style of match, like, if you're that kind of fan, or too much of a spot fest. But it was awesome. On the other hand, like, you don't need to think like that. You need to realize it was awesome, in my opinion. Wish Briscoe would win something in this company so much. He should be a champion of everyone. Like, he needs to be carrying a belt every week. Perhaps the Ring of Honor title, which is coming up next. So we have Luchas de Apuestas, title versus mask. Big storyline here. Jericho stole Gravity's mask, threatened his mom and his sister. Again, I thought this was one of the better built matches on the show, actually. The problem is, it's Jericho. So we knew that what the match was going to be. It all builds up to the sister coming in. She interfered with no stuff. Like, no way was Aubrey Edwards going to stop this. As she slapped the crap out of Jericho. Bandito ended up scoring the win with the 21 plex to get the win. I thought this match was good until they did the baseball bat stuff to me. And that's when things really took a turn for the worst. And,
wow. Okay. So we disagreed on Hurt Syndicate, and we disagree here. I hated this. I hated all of it.
No, I mean, I hated it by the end, but I thought it got significantly worse after the baseball bat stuff.
Jericho looked so bad here. He went for a drop kick at one point. It looked like he didn't even get both feet up.
That's okay. The brief story here. Maybe you've heard me tell this before, but if anyone hasn't. So this is back literally 20 years ago at this point, which is insane. When I was training to wrestle, that was my curse was the drop kick. My drop kicks totally sucked. And eventually they looked just like this Jericho drop kick. And I was pretty athletic. Like, I it's not about that. For whatever reason, I just could never do it. It's like the moonsault. I could never crack the code So I just stopped doing them. But for some reason, Jericho is the kind of wrestler where it's like if he can't do something, he's gonna like double down on it to prove that he can. And when he did this drop kick, I was like, dude, why did you do this? You didn't have to do that. Why does he do that? I don't know.
Yeah, and then the whole baseball bat thing, like I was just kind of in disbelief. I was like, there, and I was like, damn, Bandito must really hate his fucking mask. And then they had Aubrey come in, and I was like, okay, good, but also dumb. Like the fact that they had to do that tells me that they did not have an interesting enough match on its own. That they had to include something like that to try and get people invested. You know, it. I'm
but
really
on the other hand,
like here's the thing. Sorry, real quick, but when Jericho has the world title, the Ring of Honor world title, it's cool because then it gets visibility. What sucks is it's not really visibility on Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
So I feel like Bandito will be present on Ring of Honor, but he might disappear from AEW TV now.
Isn't it all worth it to see Gravity get his revenge, though?
Yeah.
Like, he's the one that gained the most from all of this somehow. I really hope that they have a new direction for Ring of Honor. They just need to reboot the whole thing, in my opinion. Make it its own company. Like, whoever you want to put on the show, put them on there. Whether it's Jericho against my wishes, whether it's Athena, whoever. Just bring them out and let Ring of Honor be its own thing. And just try to commit to it. Because I think they're really struggling right now, unfortunately. No buzz whatsoever. But yeah, this match was not good. like, please do not think I think that. I thought it was fine until the bat stuff, and then it became awful, pretty much. But it still was not good. It was still bad. Like, I just thought maybe my expectations were so low, but even then, I think by the end, it kind of didn't even meet those. This is like a 2 out of 10 to me, like a 1-star match.
Yeah. And it's like, Bandito's stuff, he is impressive, but he just did not have a dance partner here.
We'll see what goes. Again, I give them credit for making the feud worthwhile, but the match itself, there's no hope for Jericho at this point. It just is what it is. There's also no hope for Adam Cole versus Daniel Garcia. So they built this up. They had these guys wrestle a ton of times. Occasionally there'd be interference. Occasionally there'd be a draw. And now there are no interferences and no time limits. What if, though, they had a count out? Like a double count out? Or a double knockout? What if they knocked each other out cold?
Man, it's hilarious? I didn't know that they had matches before this.
You did.
This has all been on Collision, huh?
Yeah, well, and also the Slam Dunk special they had, which is very successful, to be fair, for AEW. I just thought that was such a bad decision because that match started off that show. Like, you want an Ospreay match or something on that special. Like, they did a huge rating. They had like 1 million viewers or something at the start it was after the college basketball games for March Madness. As Memphis, unfortunately, lost in the first round, as Penny Hardaway does, pretty much as a coach. Very embarrassing upset loss for the Tigers. But they got a good rating. I just thought this was such a dumb match to put on. It was such a slow-paced, mediocre match.
And this was an NXT-ass match, dude. 4 Panama Sunrises in the final stretch.
I hate these two. Like, I hate them so much together.
I like Daniel Garcia. It just felt like he did not wrestle his style of match at all. It felt like he did a 100% Adam Cole-ass match. I did not see any signs of Garcia in this.
I'm just so sick of these guys together. Like, I just want them to go away from each other. Garcia at one point, I definitely had thought had a ton of upside. I think this title reign has made me really not think he does anymore. Unfortunately. Now, his booking has not been great, for sure. And like you said, a lot of it's on Collision. So, most people have not seen it anyway. But, like, this was his chance to really, like, prove he deserved this spot. There was all that drama over him re-signing and all of that stuff last year. And he finally did. And I just feel like my expectations for him were a lot better for this title reign, unfortunately. And the booking is partly to blame, but he also didn't he didn't step up like he should have, in my opinion. And we saw it when Orange Cassidy won his title originally. Nobody was on his train thinking he was going to have that amazing title reign, but he made it happen. And I think Garcia failed in that. And I hate these matches with Adam Cole. I thought this was such a boring match. I know this is going to be a hot take, probably. I thought, it wasn't worse than the main event. To be honest, now that I think about it, like, it wasn't worse than the main event. It was just bad. Like, it was just bad. There was no interest. I have no interest in Adam Cole.
So when I tuned in live, this is where I came in, and the crowd was completely fucking dead, and I was like, what happened on this show?
Well, the last match didn't help this, to be fair.
It's like, I was really astounded by, like, how much they were doing, and that's not to say that it was necessarily good stuff, but how much they were doing and how little of a response they were eliciting.
And another, like, indie style of match here, and, like, not in a good way, like, at all. I thought the other ones, at least, maybe it was the crowd or maybe it was just the execution, but when you compare this to, like, a Fletcher or Briscoe or the Triple Threat coming up, I think this lags behind in every possible way. And definitely the crowd helped, but still, yeah, this is another, like, 2 out of 10, in my opinion. Like, really bad stuff. And I have no hope for the title reign, which, by the way, my rating, lower than every inmate's rating currently. There are 2 3 out of 10 votes, but I would say 2. So top hater level right now on this match. Which I also was for the last main event and probably will be for this month's main event as well. We will get to that shortly. 5.73 rating. So very generous from the inmates here. Do you have any star rating for it?
2.
Okay. Like, again, very nice on your part. Yeah. Very generous. I thought this was just bad. I actually kind of liked Cole as the trio.
I don't know why, like, they made so much sense as a team to carry the trios division. Yeah. And I don't even know, where are Roderick and Kyle now?
They've disappeared on this one.
Dude.
Yeah, no, it's a shame because I actually thought they had a really good vibe together as a team. You minimize Cole's in-ring limitations. You could have them just have a vibe. I mean, I don't think they're great promos or anything, but at least they're friends. Like, we know they like each other for real, and you can at least have a bro vibe with them. Cole on his own, though. So anyway, they did the deal with the international title tournament. It ended with a fatal 4-way. Mike Bailey was about to win, and then Ricochet stole the pin. Like, he jumped on top of him as he rolled up Mark Davis and used the ropes so they both advanced to make it a triple threat match. And I think every expectation of this match was, okay, this is the match where the craziest stuff is going to happen. And in that said, this match succeeded, I would say, on this show. This was by far the most action-packed match. This was the match that felt like it had the biggest crowd reaction to me. They just went all out, balls to the wall. Again, Omega, and there's plenty of times I haven't liked him in New Japan, but I would never say he's a selfish wrestler. He wanted to make Speedball look as great as he possibly could. Ricochet is a great heel foil for everybody, just like this annoying character, but can also do great spots as well. I thought this really delivered overall. Like, this lived up to the expectations you had for it. You got the big near fall at the end with the Ultima weapon, and Omega ended up taking advantage of that with the one-winged angel. As he caught Ricochet into the one-winged angel. It was a really great finish overall. I think the true MVP of this has to be Speedball, because he came out with this Chrono Trigger inspired gear for the entrance. Did you peep this?
I didn't realize that. I didn't pick up on it. That's amazing, though.
Yes, absolutely, and I loved it automatically. I mean, I already like Speedball. I will say, Speedball ran into some trouble a couple of weeks ago in his promo where the crowd started to turn on him, but he actually kind of played it off with swag, though. Like, very good heel demeanor from Speedball. I'd love to see that. See a little bit of a run of that if they wanted to go there, but to be honest, after this match, I think everyone just... There's no need for a heel turn right now. What did you think of the match?
This definitely delivered a lot of great sequences that sort of hit the full spectrum of pro wrestling, from technical to comedy to high flying to entertainment. Good point. They had a wide breadth of genres they played within. This was some PWG ass shit in a very good way. And these are three very PWG guys as well. So I thought they all delivered. Like, it's crazy how much of a star Ricochet feels like now. In just terms of like his presence and everything. I was like, God, he's like a player now. Like, he is a legit guy. And I'm really impressed by his rehabilitation and character rework. Omega is dominant, and Speedball put on a hell of a show. So I'd go like 4.5 probably. This is my favorite match besides favorite match, and then
besides Megan, the main event, of course.
Yeah, and then Megan and Tony.
I thought this was the match of the show, personally. Again, I can see if you argued, okay, they did too much here, but I think that's how it had to be. Like, it was supposed to be that, and I thought they all passed with flying colors. Again, love the Chrono Trigger, love the Karate Kid. Like, he actually went full out with it, with the crane kick on Ricochet. Very funny, as you said, great comedy stuff here. Speedball always has good inspirations for, like, I remember he was talking about like Adventure Time inspired something one time, which is a great show. Old school Cartoon Network fans out there, stand up. Obviously, the Karate Kid influences, and now Frog from Chrono Trigger. Come on. I love you, Speedball. I love you. Keep doing what you're doing, my friend, because you are killing it right now. And Omega, great champion as well. So Okada comes out, and he just stares at Omega. This man got a payday for this. He's bringing wrestling laziness to whole new levels right now. Kevin Nash would be proud.
Yeah, I was thinking during this, I was like, is Okada still wrestling? Is he injured? And then when he came out, I was like, oh, they're just keeping him on ice until All In. Okay.
Yeah, that's what it seems like. Will he wrestle again? Will he defend this belt? No. just no, he won't. What do you think's up next for Ricochet and Speedball? Do you think they can have a feud with each other?
I mean, I wouldn't see like what about, just because like one didn't necessarily screw over the other in the finish that I feel like would warrant further feuding.
What if they were a tag team?
Oh damn, that'd be.
I gotta thought about like Speedball as like annoying, Well, they'd have to play it up because I mean he is an actual martial artist, but play it up like fake Karate Kid fan, the level that's not. But I mean, that Speedball is, so it's not going to work ultimately for that. But I just love the idea of somebody who thinks, like, man, my shit is so good. I'm the greatest martial artist of all time. I'm better than the Karate Kid or something like that. Like that kind of gimmick, I think would be great for Speedball if they wanted to do a heel segment, because I saw that when they did the promo afterwards. So, you know, and again, the fans kind of turned on him, but I don't think that's going to happen anymore. After this match, it's like, man, you look at him and you're like, man, Speedball's legit. But I could see all of them feud against each other, whether it's Speedball, Ricochet, Fletcher. You could do some stuff. I think Fletcher and Speedball would be a great matchup in the future. Takeshita is always there. A lot of great challengers for Speedball. Big love. Big love there.
Big love.
We get to the main event. We go to this long video about Swerve and the Death Riders. And they lead to the main event. Mox comes out with Marina. Did you see the match where they had the intergender tag with Willow and Marina?
No, but I saw Mox hitting the Death Rider on Willow. I did see a clip of that.
I thought it was a great build. Speaking of great influences here, Swerve. My heart beat a little bit when I saw this come out. He comes in with Static Shock inspired gear.
I did recognize this. This was awesome.
I fucking loved this so much. Like, Static Shock was my show when I was a kid. Like, the only way it could have been better is if Jackie Chan Adventures got referenced somehow. And then it's like my childhood is living once again on there. But this was great. Really cool stuff. So, thank you so much, Swerve, for being awesome. So, again, this is another example. I thought this match was going pretty well, except for one major flaw that started this match right away. This match ended, and so much of this has been built up with the Death Riders ruining the company. Moxley bleeds a million buckets of blood. He gets stabbed with spikes in his spine and all this. And the closing angle is Swerve getting powerbombed through glass. And they start off with this bizarre technical wrestling exhibition from Moxley. What? What are you doing, man? This is okay, but listen, I know it's well known. Like he did the Josh Barnett match last year, which I've seen a lot of people throwing shade at. This is not Barnett's fault. Don't blame Josh for this. But what was he doing? This is a blood feud. Like, Swerve jumped off of him at the end of the last pay-per-view and stopped him from the crowd or whatever. I thought this opening was ridiculous. But then I thought it turned into some good stuff. The match was going well enough. Just the psychology of the start was horrible. But that said, it was a masterpiece compared to what was to come. And the worst part of it is, I could recap a ton of stuff in this match, and it doesn't matter. Because we all knew that this match was not going to end without a bunch of bullcrap that happened. I mean, you had some good stuff. You saw Swerve. He ended up hitting the Kudame Valentine, which was a great spot. You had Hangman run in. And this honestly overshadowed everything in the main event. It's funny that Hangman and Swerve is bigger than the belt at this point. Because the spot everyone was talking about when Hangman ran out, and he ends up hitting, looking for the buckshot lariat, but we never know who he was trying to hit. Because the Death Riders destroy Page and attack him. The Ops run in, and it's a huge brawl between everybody. The lights go out at one point, and we thought it was Sabu in Philly probably coming in. But instead, the EVPs. The Young Bucks are back. They hit the EVP trigger on Swerve, and Mox cowardly gets the win here. What were they thinking with this?
This was such a letdown. If they're really waiting for Darby to get back, then this is
if
the lamest. Just It's
Okay,
so
right away,
weird.
automatically, like I said, I ranted about last month's main event and thought it was awful. And I don't think there was some good in this match when they wrestled. It wasn't all bad, and it was just good enough to get a 0 out of 10 for me. Uh,
Oh fuck.
I hated this match so much. Again, I think that it was like the ending was so mind-bogglingly stupid in so many ways, even compared to last month, which was bad. I mean, like last month was very bad. And by the way, they did this exact angle last month with Hangman, but with Yuta. Remember when he ran into the ring and they were both standing up at the same time, and they were like, "Who's he gonna hit? Like, who's he gonna hit the knee to?" This time it was the buckshot lariat, and even still, they did the same crap. Like, there's no originality in any of this stuff. It's the same stuff over and over. And the Young Bucks coming back, no one wanted this. Nobody missed them. They have the same problem Charlotte had in WWE, where say what you want, them leaving meant nothing like negative to the company. And in fact, before they left, they were horrible. Like many people wanted them gone. I think the best way to get them back would have been total, like they needed to erase these characters that they're doing. Like bring back the old Young Bucks for better or worse. And I wasn't even always fans of theirs, but I would take that a million times over EVP Young Bucks. And that's what we got here. They were in the suits. Like, they showed that they're still the same for whatever reason. And why would you have this overshadow like a swerve match? Everyone wanted to see him win. I don't know. I hated this match so much. Again, I didn't hate it as much as last month. 0 is probably a little bit bad. I will give it a 1 out of 10 and be generous here. Again, to me, it should be negative. The finish is one of the worst things I can remember seeing in an AEW match to me. But, and I think now, with that opening, I was so disappointed in the opening to this match as well. I think we might have to start asking some questions about Mox, because we kind of defended him last month. Even as I buried that match to hell, I did say that he was an amazing talent. And he was in the past. We have to ask some questions at this moment, because I just don't think these matches are too bad. At the end of the day, you can't just keep defending somebody who keeps putting this output out. And I'm kind of getting ready to jump off this ship, to be honest. As much as I've loved him in the past and respected him a lot, if a lot of this is his idea and his vision for what he wants this to be, which I have no reason to think that it's not heavily influenced by him, at least, both him and Tony Khan need to be examined, and not in a good way, because this was not good. And this angle that they did, I think, is some of the worst stuff we've seen. Now, to be fair, one thing, I'll let you go say your piece after this, but I will use your words, Nello, about the horrible Ricochet angle that I also buried, that we must give these things a little bit of time to play out. 3 weeks, am I correct? What was your statement before?
Yes.
So we have to give this 3 weeks. But even if it plays out, this match still sucked. But I will at least give them a chance to see how this does.
Yes. If you're going to team up Swerve and Hangman, I think there's a lot of money there.
Me too. And that was kind of what we talked about the tag team before. Hangman and Swerve winning the tag belts from Hurt Syndicate, that's a main event match.
Yeah. No, completely agree. It's they're a super tag team. I would love to see them do a run together. I just wish Swerve won the world title here. It really wrote itself. That's the thing.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question about that. Because I think there's an argument to be had that Hangman and Swerve are better as enemies than teammates. I've seen some people say. But the reaction, I mean, I don't know, like, what did you think of their angle that they did, like the go home angle they did, where Swerve admitted, like, yeah, I did deserve it, and that shook Paige.
Oh,
Like,
I
this
liked
is,
it a lot.
yeah, me too. I loved it. Like, I thought it was phenomenal. And to me, ultimately, Hangman to me feels like the heart and soul of this company. Um, like I feel like a lot of the fans feel that way as well. And I think a vast majority of fans ultimately want these two to reconcile. Like they brought so many great memories through their matches together. They did horrible things to each other, yes, in the storyline, but ultimately, they're like two friends who, like, if you're in the middle of a friendship where they're fighting, like you want them to reconcile, no matter, like, even if they did some messed up stuff, you just want them to be friends again so you can all be happy together. And I think Hangman and Swerve being friends and reconciling makes the entire AEW fan base happy together.
Yeah.
And I think that is the ultimate end. And I had a feeling that it might turn out this way. Well, I mean, I think that's true of almost every, when you get to a rivalry there that deep, like the ultimate end game is for them to reconcile so many times. At the end of the day, we've seen it. And I think it would be a great thing for them. So big fan of that for sure. But sorry for cutting you up. I just wanted to see if you wanted to see them, because I've heard that argument that they're better as enemies than friends. But I don't really agree with that. I think they were great as enemies, but I think that makes them even better friends ultimately.
Yeah, I was very let down by this, but at the same time, I'm excited to see what they do with Paige and Swerve next. Yep. Not really Moxley or the Bucks, but Paige and Swerve.
Yeah,
the Bucks just do not interest me in this year of 2025. I haven't missed them from TV.
Yeah. Yep, exactly what I said.
It's the worst storyline it's the worst storyline before the Death Riders.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes, the last two worst angles in AEW are now combining.
Yeah.
What if then MJF and Adam Cole join the fray, and they're now a part of this? The Brochachos reunite.
Oh, I mean, I might just have to start my own company at that point.
Brochachos versus EVPs versus Death Riders.
For the world title. Freebirds rule.
Everyone's in. Much like the Dragon Gate cage match where everyone's against each other, even if they're on the same team. Yep. Yes. That's where we're going. But I agree with you. That was by far the best part, the Hangman and Swerve. And I actually thought that part was kind of really smart, actually. That they didn't blow their load and have Paige directly save Swerve. They left reasonable doubt. And now, like, when Hangman saves Swerve eventually, that's going to get a nuclear level reaction. Like, they're going to eat that up. You know it's going to be huge on there. But the thing is, the impetus is on Hangman. Like, if Swerve saves Hangman, I don't think that would get as big of a reaction, because Hangman's character, he basically, his main purpose for living is to hate Swerve Strickland.
Yeah.
And now to see him overcome that and let those weights go is a very human story, right? Like, you're seeing a man let go of this darkness inside of him, these negative feelings, to move on with his life. This guy that we all know is actually good deep down. Like, even though he's done bad stuff, we know he's actually good. I think his character booking, for as bad as the Death Riders angle is, look at what Hangman's done this year from the Daniels feud to this. I think they've done an excellent job with Hangman Page. I mean, I think in general, he's one of the absolute best characters in wrestling.
Yeah, totally agree.
And Swerve's not too far behind him. He's another guy. He had to grow before Hangman did, which is a great wrinkle of their story too. Because by him admitting he deserved it, that shows that he's had character growth. He would never have done that a year or two ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's great. So that part is good. We can't completely write that off. As bad as the main event was, that is a really good part. What about the ops? Like, what do they have to do with any of this?
Trios titles. those bad boys. Yeah, that's it.
One more thing that I didn't like about this part. I hate that next month it's just like, well, the title's not going to be on the table because it's May, so it's Anarchy in the Arena. Why couldn't we just do that naturally? Like, why do we have to force feed the opposite of this to make Anarchy work? You know? Like, couldn't we have gotten there naturally?
So you're saying include the ops, but not just throw them in the way they did.
Yeah, I mean, there was no real reason for this, ultimately.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess except for the trios titles, like you said, if they want to make it that's fine. But they should have dropped them after their match then. Like but then you had to do the cope angle, so you couldn't do that back to back. They had about 5 different cut-ins of people watching the TV, like WWE on the show. They couldn't have done that when the Death Riders had ops and beat them down. Their promo on Dynamite was so funny too, where Joe was just like, "Hey, we're gonna be at the pay-per-view because we're gonna watch it." Like they didn't have a match. They're just like, we're just gonna show up. And last month they were in the press box. Remember? We got some.
They're
fun
good.
games.
You got to keep the gimmick going.
That's true, but now this may be their time to shine. They are going to fight. But I do think they're a really good team to actually hold the trios belts, to be honest. Like if they wanted to do that. But I also, part of me thinks that this Anarchy match is going to be not necessarily a sacrifice of the ops, but more so we're putting them in to drag out the inevitable blood and guts match that's going to have the big stars in it too. You can have the ops and Hangman be on one team, or the ops and Swerve maybe. Then maybe this is where Hangman's like, no, I can't. I refuse to team with Swerve this time. And that leads to blood and guts being when they find Hangman's like they finally shake hands or something like that as a team, and they could do that. They give the Death Riders another win on pay-per-view. But it seems clear that Mox is going to keep this belt until All In, and despite the fans' criticism, I mentioned this to somebody. One of the things that I really don't like too about this is I've seen some of the interviews of Tony Khan, and a regular question they're like, Tony, do you care about the fans' comments about anything? Because everyone in the world hates your stupid main event booking right now. But they didn't say it like that. And his reaction makes me think they're in a really dangerous game. Not just the fact that this stuff is bad, which I think we all agree that this stuff is the dirt worst crap ever. But I actually don't think it's as bad as the Brochacho stuff, because I thought that stuff was actively embarrassing to watch. This gives me a different feeling, but it's still very bad. It's very close. I can understand why you might think it's worse. But his reaction made me feel like there's actually growing resentment towards the fans, actually. And a lot of this is kind of veering into spite booking territory, where it's like, okay, all we see is negative comments about this Death Rider stuff, but me and Mox are really invested in it. So we're going to go, you want to hate my shit? Take this. Now the Young Bucks are back. That's kind of how I feel like when he answers those questions. I feel like there's a growing resentment towards the fan base because nobody likes this bullshit feud in the main event. But that's just my take. I'm not. That's not a guaranteed. That's how I'm reading some of his comments, and because he's kind of making it seem like, yeah, we hear it, but we just are going to do our own stuff, pretty much.
Yeah,
That's a very WWE thing. And same thing with what I said about Anarchy. It's like it has to be done in May because it's May. No, it doesn't. Why does that? Why do we have to have Anarchy just because it's May?
No, it's starting to feel like we're in a holding pattern, during this show.
Totally. Yeah, I agree with that, actually.
At least until all in, right?
Yeah. Well, Double or Nothing's next month.
Exactly, and that's here, but I'm like, it's what's gonna be meaningful. I don't know.
Yeah. Anarchy, I guess. Maybe this will be the time they pull the trigger on Tony main eventing a show. I just think, just on principle, having a women main event a pay-per-view would be such a great thing.
I would love that. I mean, who do you
Yeah.
see her main eventing against? I could see it once she faces Mercedes. I could
Yeah.
see that being the first women's main event.
That would be good, but I like right now they're both champions, so that would be kind of a tough thing heading into All In.
I think after All In.
Yeah. That makes sense. That makes perfect sense. And a lot of the angles, there's not a lot of great main event sounding stuff right now going on in AEW. Out of this show, not a lot of great stuff was really built up for the future. As great as that triple threat was, we don't know what's next for any of the three involved, even though we like all of them. The tag titles I think they should do some work to give an interesting challenger next month for the Hurt Syndicate. But mainly the women's title, and even then, like you said, we don't have anybody really built up. And a lot of the challengers are in the tournament right now, the Owen Hart tournament, like the people you would want to see. What if Sky Blue returns?
Badass. Throw in with Julia. Let's get the tag division going.
Yeah, absolutely. Although I think Julia's really improved, to be honest. Maybe Sky Blue will get there when she returns, like come in with a bat out of hell run type of deal. Let's go for it. But yeah, this show overall, again, pretty weak rating on Cage Match right now, sitting at 6.63. I gotta say the inmates pretty accurate. I think the top part of this, like the top 4 matches or so, were great, but the bottom part of it were terrible. Like the main event, the Jericho match, the Cole and Garcia, I really hated that Cole and Garcia match a lot. And I don't think anybody liked the main event. So, like, you've got some of the best and worst of AEW. It was just a really hodgepodge show. And to be honest with you, even the best stuff, like, they were great. Nothing on this show compared to last month's best stuff. Whether it was the Hollywood ending or the cage match, I thought were both better than anything on this show.
Agreed.
Yeah. So yeah, if you're asking for a whole show, I'd say it's about a 6 out of 10.
Yeah, totally. It's the things that were really good were sort of inconsequential. Like there weren't very high stakes. And then we had 2 really solid title matches. But yeah, that like final stretch of like final 3, thank God for the international, but like Bandito and Jericho, TNT, and then the world title, that was a bad second half.
Good point. We'll see what happens next. We will definitely be there to talk about it with all kinds of cool stuff coming up. Hell, WrestleMania weekend coming up. The Collective. Man, so much wrestling is on the horizon. Hopefully we can do a lot with it and do a lot of the good stuff and talk about it as well, because I'd love to hear your thoughts personally. Never mind just the fans. Obviously, we all want to hear your thoughts, Nello. You're the penultimate expert on all things wrestling right now. But I like to keep up with you the best I can. So yeah, overall, really enjoyed doing the show. Thanks for taking the time, brother. I hope everything's going good over there. But as is the tradition, I want to give you the floor before we exit out of here.
Ooh. I don't really have much to say this week. It was just nice catching up with you, so thank you.
Your game came out, before too. Like last week, it was a big deal because the game came out. It's still there though. Yeah. People can buy it, right?
Yeah, game's out. You can buy it now. Deep Cuts on the Quest store.
Yeah, VR taking over, baby.
Oh yeah.
There was a new episode of the Eastern Lariat that came out last week. Not even last week, it was a few days ago. Well, I guess technically last week, but check that out. There'll be another new one this weekend. Me and Stricker are going to work together. There should be another new one. We're going to work hard to get that out. So much stuff going on. I have a ton of thoughts on Sakura Genesis. If you want a spoiler alert on that, go to the patreon.com/Eastern Lariat. If you want to hear talk about Japanese wrestling, I talk a bit about that. And we got some cool stuff cooking. Nearing episode 300 of my other show, the Eastern Lariat. And I'm very proud of that and very proud of this one as well as we move on. But yeah, overall, I hope you guys are all safe out there. Big shout out to everybody in my home state of Tennessee, who recently had some big time storms. I personally know of somebody who had significant home damage with the tornadoes, and there was a huge flood today in the city I live as well. The river overflowed. So hopefully all of that is doing good. I'm thankful for. Don't worry about me. I'm very safe right now, and my family is safe. But a lot of people were damaged by it in Tennessee and also other states like Missouri next door, Mississippi. I know all these places. I know people, Kentucky as well. Hopefully everybody out there is very safe in the South. And if you're not, I hope you guys are having fun. Easter is right around the corner. Hang out with your family and friends. Let them know that you love them, because that's very, very important as we all try to get through this life together. With that said, as always, we will be back. We will be talking wrestling very soon. You know I love you. And until next time, this has been your Wrestle Update.